Hello everybody, Erica Serwin here from Pink Buckaroo Designs, and today I'm going to show you a really fun slider card. See that? It's a fancy fold type of card, and it's featuring a really amazing set from Stampin' Up! Called Rooted in Nature. This is a bigger stamp set. It actually comes in 2 cases. I kind of look at this set as one that you will have for years and years and use for lots of different occasions. It also makes really great masculine projects, and the best part is it has matching dies, of course. Now this week over at pinkbuckaroo.com, my focus has been all about the Rooted in Nature stamp set. If you like this project, make sure you check out the recording of my Facebook Friday from yesterday, as well as another project video that's coming out tomorrow after this one. All right, well, let's get started. There's lots of steps here that you're going to need to do for this, but it's relatively easy and straightforward. Now I am using a sneak peek product that's coming out in the 2019-2020 Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog called Garden Lane Designer Series paper. Here it is. It's very pretty. I have a hard time deciding on which side to use, but I really like that it's all monochromatic and lots of the beautiful greens that we have. So let's start by making the actual holder. All right, you're going to need for the holder a piece of the new Garden Lane Designer Series paper that measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. This is new paper that will be available June 4th in the new Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog. It's just beautiful. It's all different greens blended together to make this beautiful monochromatic paper. All right, so 4 by 5 1/4. You need a piece of mint macaron that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. All of these measurements will be over on my blog, you guys. Hop over there and get them. And then a Whisper White thick that is the same, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. The first thing we're going to do is adhere this DSP right down to the mint macaron piece, and we're going to cut out the center part. So we want to make sure that that's going to be adhered nicely to the center. So I'm really going to put a bunch of adhesive there in the middle, and then I'm going to center that right there. All right, now you need to get a rectangle frame stitched rectangle die. This one is 4 by 2 3/4. Now we're going to cut this rectangle so that it only cuts 3 sides. We want to leave that top part intact. That's going to create that flap for us that's going to pull up. Now you want to make sure that you get your die centered. I kind of like to take a ruler and make sure that it's about 3/4 of an inch from all 4 sides. And then I kind of like to just put a Post-it note down just to make sure it doesn't slide around when it goes through there. Now we're cutting through 2 layers, which is a little bit thicker obviously than if we were just doing the DSP. So I'm going to run it through and then run it back through again to make sure it cuts all the way. But I don't want it to cut this top piece. So I'm going to take my clear plate, I'm going to put it on top, and I'm going to stop right there before that top cutting line, okay? So it's going to cut all 3 of those lines, but it's going to stop right there. So carefully hold it in place and run it through, and then run it back. Make sure it cuts all the way through. The stitched rectangle dies are a little persnickety. I think maybe that's the word I use when I'm using them. They are beautiful and I love them, but they do take a little more pressure through your machine. All right, let's see. See how that worked out perfectly. So it's still connected there, but it's going to open up there. All right, now we need to add some score lines to this little window here so that it will kind of scrunch up to the top. So grab a ruler and you want to make a mark from the bottom of the rectangle just at 1/2 inch. All right, and I'm actually going to move it up a little bit over here towards the edge, and you'll see why in just a minute. So put your mark there, 1/2 inch. Then we want to make a line here in the middle, and that roughly, let me look at my notes, roughly equates to 1 5/8 from the top. All right, so put it right here where that line would be, and 1 5/8. Let's see, let me do that up here, 1 1/2. It's 1 tick mark past 1 1/2. And we also want to put a score line right there across the top. Now, the reason I put pencil marks is because it's kind of hard to measure once it's already in here. So what I like to do is just line it up with one of the main score line here on my Simply Scored. And we're not going to score this part, just this part. So get it lined up, and you can even take your ruler and get it right where it needs to be on that score line. And carefully take your tool, your scoring tool, and drag it across here without scoring. And then once you get it here, really push the pressure down on there, okay? Now we're going to do the same thing here. Let's line it up with a 6. And lightly. Now push firmly. Okay. Last, we've got to do this line. So I'm just going to come over here and, whoops. Let's see. Let me move over here so I'm not moving my arm over. All right. So right there, don't push till you get here, and then push down. Okay. So this one is going to fold up and back, and this one's going to fold forward. Okay, so that when you pull it up, it's going to slide. Now, before we put the little tag in there to pull it, we've got to punch this little notch at the top, and I'm using a 1 3/4 inch circle. So I'm going to punch just about a quarter of a circle, and then I'm going to get my Whisper White piece that's going to go in the back, and I'm going to score that also. Okay, so they're going to line up when I adhere them together. That coordinates with those greens. And this piece, let me look at my notes, 2.5 by 4 5/8. And we're going to adhere it just right here, okay? You just want to put the adhesive right there. And I would use a pretty strong adhesive. I have a little bit of Fast Fuse left, so that's what I am using. And I'm going to line that up right there. And you can see how now when I pull it, it's going to pull that up. All right, now before we can actually put these together, we want to do the stamping right here, the sentiment that's going to be revealed when you slide up. So what I want to do is take my, well, let's get this pulled all the way up. I want to take my pencil, let's get that pulled up like that. And I'm going to mark exactly where I want these. So right here with a pencil like that. Now we're going to use the wonderful Stamparatus to make sure that we get that exactly right. I'm going to use the sentiment that says "You are wonderful" right here. So I'm going to lay it down, get perfect placement right there. And then get my Early Espresso. No, let's use, yeah, we've got Early Espresso out. Any of them would work, brown or soft suede. Ink that up. And let's see how it looks. I want it a little bit darker, so I'm actually going to ink that up again. There we go. Now, carefully erase your little lines that you've drawn. I probably did them a little heavy-handed, so learn from me. Only make light pencil marks. And we're going to adhere it now to the front part. All right, now we're going to take our front part, the front of our card, and I want you to take your really strong adhesive, whatever you want to use, Tear and Tape or Tombow, and go all the way around. And then carefully lay that on top of that Whisper White piece. Let's see. Ta-da! Isn't that fun? Really fun. Okay, now let's make this up here. We're going to use the I don't know, this is probably my favorite image in the Rooted in Nature, this tree. And we're going to stamp it on Whisper White, and we're going to do this twice. Now, because for the sake of the video, I've actually already done it once. So we're actually just going to do it once. But if you're making this, you're going to need to do it twice. So put it on your Stamparatus and get your Stampin' Write markers. I'm going to use Early Espresso right here on the trunk. There's a little bit of the trunk showing through there. Then Pear Pizzazz. And I'm going to color in all the rest of the foliage. This is a beautiful tree. Since I have been working with this stamp set this week, I am noticing all the trees in my neighborhood as we walk to school in the mornings, just how beautiful they are and how they all resemble these trees in this fun stamp set. All right, once you've got that colored in, go ahead and stamp it. Now I started light because I'm going to take a dauber and Old Olive, and I'm going to just add a little bit more color. Not all of it, but kind of where the darker spots would be. Definitely not on top, but underneath those branches there. I'm actually also going to take my Early Espresso marker and do this part again. Because when you stamp with a marker, sometimes that first layer just isn't dark enough. And because we're using the Stamparatus, we can do it a couple of times. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? It looks like it has shadows. Love it. You can also take another marker. You know, you can just do this all day. I can see some really light spots there, so I think I will add some more color there. And I do have a Mossy Meadow marker, and I don't want to get too dark. Maybe just a little here, like that. I'm going to kind of daub it, kind of blend it in. And one more time, let's see. Perfect. I love it. Okay, now do that twice, all right? And then get your die cut machine and get the coordinating die. Here it is right here. And put that right on there. I love when we have dies that match our stamps. It makes me use them more, I think. All right, there we go. Beautiful. Now, let's move this. We don't need this anymore. We're going to layer these up on a piece of vellum. And this vellum is 3 by 2 1/4. And I'm actually going to get my itty bitty baby, I call them babies, the mini dimensionals, and I'm going to cut one of them in half. See right there for the trunk. And right there. And then, now we want to, what's going to happen here, we're going to adhere this to this bottom section. We don't want to adhere it up here, so that when we pull this, that's going to stand up. So we've got to make sure that our adhesive is here only, so that we don't see it. Now I'm just going to stick with these mini dimensionals, and I'm going to just put them on the bottom half of the 2 trees. Okay, there we go. Now here's our vellum piece, and I think I'll put the darker one. This one's a little bit darker since I used that marker. I'm going to put it towards the back, and this one a little bit more down towards the front. Now I have already pre-cut the thanks. These are from the Well-Written dies, and I cut them out with adhesive sheets, which, if you're watching this before the new catalog comes out, they are retiring. So grab you some. You definitely want some adhesive sheets for things like this. If not, you can use your fine tip glue pen. And I have cut out a crumb cake label from the Lakeside Framelits in crumb cake. So I'm going to put that there, and then we're going to just put that like that. Now you'll see in a minute that this is kind of designed to hide our adhesive on our vellum. Adhering vellum sometimes can be super tricky because you can see it through the backside. When you put it on, you could see the adhesive. So see what I've done here? You can put all the adhesive you want right there, and it will not be seen. So where are my big dimensionals? Here they are. One here and one here. And then we'll put that just on that middle panel like that. Okay, let's test it out. There we have it. And then you are wonderful. Isn't that so much fun? You could even put a gift card in here, you guys. Slide it in. When you put your adhesive, make sure you stay on the outside so you could squeeze in a gift card. I just think that is so fun. All right, we're gonna do one more thing to this. Of course, it needs a bow. Now, I designed this with the idea that it would be masculine. So if you want it to be masculine and you feel like the bow is not appropriate for a masculine card, then don't add it. But I think a bow is okay because the linen trim here, the braided linen trim, to me is very rugged and kind of outdoorsy, right? All right, and I'm just gonna put it kind of at an angle there. And there you have it, the slider card, the sliding window card. That's probably a better name, sliding window card. And you could write your message up here. All right, you guys, hop over to my blog, pinkbuckaroo.com, to get all the measurements and the product specifications. If you are watching this before June 3rd, actually, June 3rd, 2019, I am giving away anybody who buys the Rooted in Nature stamp set a free bolt of braided trim. We're having a fun challenge with the Rooted in Nature stamp set, and I am just adding to the pot. So if you would like to order Rooted in Nature from me, click on my blog, link here in the video, and there will be details there for you to order it. All right, you guys, thank you so much. Check out the other videos. I have 5 more Rooted in Nature projects. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.